said he's just a friend. Come on, man. Come on.
2, 1.
Welcome, everyone, back to a brand new edition of Getting Color right here on the BigVitoBrand.com. And I am Virtue, being joined by the man himself that represents the BigVitoBrand.com and many others, as always. I think, Russo's brand. I mean, he used to be on No DQ, but, Aaron Rift kind of threw a wrench into that. But anyway,
Yeah,
Big Vito,
nice.
what's up, man?
How's it going, everybody? Good to be back. Hope everybody's doing good, keeping safe out there. It's the BIGV from the LOG coming to you live, baby, live. I'm going to pull the microphone close so people can hear me well. Sometimes they don't hear me because, I speak in that smooth, Teddy Pendergrass thing, you know what I'm saying? And be,
Yep.
that Muddy Waters lover man, a hoochie coochie man, Anyway, I hope everybody's having a great day, a great night. I know tonight is the pay-per-view. It's on right now. Virtue is very into what's going on in wrestling. He's got a lot of good subjects today. Virtue, take it away.
Well, so far, I know Matt Riddle retained his title. Big E retained his title. They are the U.S. and IC champs, respectively. And also, Shayna Baszler and your girl, Nia Jax, did retain the women's tag team titles so far tonight.
Well, Matt Riddle's title defense, that guy Ali had a lot to say. You knew he was doing the job. It's not even a career builder for Riddle. Okay. Big E, who did he wrestle tonight?
Apollo Crews, and it was a funky, weird roll-up reversal, just because it's going to continue, right, for WrestleMania probably. It was just a weird finish.
So you have Big E against Apollo Crews and the Hurt Foundation. Is that what they're calling themselves?
Who's that?
MVP and...
Yes, but they're not. Apollo Crews has nothing to do with that. He's on his own on SmackDown. But the faction with Bobby Lashley and that MVP, who else do they got? Shelton Benjamin. That's still over on Raw, yes.
Okay. All right, now that we got the end, my girl Nia TikTok Jack returned the title, but didn't Baszler attack her this past week?
They're having some dysfunction, but they're still the tag team champions, so they're going to probably have that love-hate relationship. It's going to drag on for months until they decide to turn one of them babyface, probably Shayna Baszler. I don't know, but that's what.
Hey, Ryan, how you doing? You know what? I could see – I can't see Shayna Baszler turning.
No?
I think they're going to turn Nia Jax.
So she could TikTok in the ring?
Exactly. But haven't I been saying this for a long time, right? I said if they put her to TikTok and they use all her stuff in a happy life and everything, she will be over as a babyface. I've said it for months. If they turn her babyface, TikTok is going to explode.
That's a good point. And we're going to come back to that down the road and see if they do that. But that's a great point, Vito. All right, ready for these topics today?
Yes, go.
First one, Charlie Caruso, who is a backstage interviewer in WWE. She also works for ESPN, by the way, legit sports commentator analyst. She's now officially gone, it seems like, through all the dirt sheets here because she had some backstage heat with several wrestlers. And the dirt that I dug up is she was late quite a bit. And, in a professional environment, you can't be late. And, we don't know the details, but just say that was the case. Say that was true. I could understand Vince McMahon and company getting upset with her over that. But on her defense, I think she's above and beyond WWE. She's doing legit sports. So go focus on that. Maybe she was wanting a way out. What do you think?
I'm going to say what I think.
Yes.
I think she was an excellent commentator. I think because she's not a wrestling lifer or did not break in wrestling and she's from ESPN, she is on a different level than the wrestlers. And she's a different persona, a different culture, So if you're working for ESPN, then you come and do interviews at the WWE for wrestling. Who do you want to interview? LeBron or someone else? I'm not going to name a name. I say LeBron or someone else, right?
Or Matt Riddle.
In putting it in polite terms, not to offend anybody, but I could see where the miscommunication came in. She probably got scolded at a few times, probably got fed up and told the WWE, F you, this is it, I'm out, and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's how I see it happening.
And we'll see. If I'm anxious, I've never really caught her on ESPN, but I'm going to pay a little more attention because I'd like to see her work over there and see how she does. She was okay in WWE. She was really good to look at from a guy's perspective. So,
just another point I'd like to make.
Yes.
A very good point. As soon as the deal went sour with ESPN, that's when the Carly Caruso stuff happened.
Yeah, excellent observation, Vito. That's why you're the man. You heard it here right on the BigVitoBrand.com, folks.
All right, so there we go.
Ready for this one?
Go ahead.
The newest member that's going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, the WWE Hall of Fame this year, is Eric Bischoff. 20 years ago, did we ever see this happening? And here's the interesting thing. He was hired a couple of years ago and fired, obviously, as the creative guy from SmackDown. It didn't work out, but they'll bring him back. And he was shown up on AEW TV for a couple of appearances, too. So I find this very interesting. Bischoff will be in the WWE Hall of Fame. He was once the man that was defeating Vince McMahon in the ratings. What do you think?
My observation, right? Nobody ever thought Eric Bischoff would work for the WWE and work for Vince McMahon, but it happened.
Yep.
Okay. Taking a step below and conceding his defeat to Vince McMahon, and Vince being the ego that he is, hiring Bischoff just to defame him, like he's done to many WCW superstars. Okay? Use me, abuse me, fire me. But I'll gladly come back for a burger on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Eric Bischoff. He had done a great job in establishing wrestling in the 90s. He did do some great things. Anytime he was given a job on TV, on camera, he did the best he could. I mean, he wasn't terrible. He wasn't horrible. He did a good job. When it comes to the backstage stuff and his recent run with the WWE, we both said it. I said it first. He was the fall guy to be fired if it failed. And he was.
Like John Laurinaitis is right now for talent relations?
He's next. He's next up. Next man up, right? So when you look at things, guys, it's the wrestling business and the wrestling world. Eric Bischoff was on AEW, did not have a contract, made an appearance. They don't like WWE talent going over to the opposition. Hey, brother, we're going to call you back, give you a Hall of Fame job, maybe a Legends contract. How about it, brother?
Yeah.
Okay. So he's back. But in all, we are here at Getting Color, and Vito LaGrasso would like to say, congratulations, Eric Bischoff, on your Hall of Fame induction. Good luck. I hope everything works out for you and you have the best presentation of yourself on your great day.
Yeah, and Vito, I've said some bad things about him, like how he ran the well dry in WCW, but I've also, and he acknowledged that on his podcast with Conrad Thompson. Thanks for giving, Virtue a plug, Eazy-E. But I always want to make sure everybody knows, I thought he was a very good on-screen cocky heel, because that was probably close to his real persona. And I thought it was very serviceable over the years, even when he went to WWE and he was a general manager. And for that, I think Eric Bischoff definitely deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame, because I think he was a good heel on camera.
No, he put his time in. He did his thing. Yeah. Regardless of what people think and what he does now, you're given kudos for your past job well done.
Yeah.
And so be it. Now, is it true that this busy bunny is going in the Hall of Fame?
Oh, no. That's got to be a rumor, obviously. Now, this Bad Bunny, is that who you're talking about?
Yeah.
Like, if we're talking 10 years from now because of the work that he's doing right now, oh, God, I could only imagine.
I read online that he was going in the Hall of Fame.
I hope that was a troll and a joke. And now, 10 years from now or down the road, if they use him a lot this year, I could see them putting him in the celebrity wing. But like right now, oh God, I hope that's just a troll, Vito.
I hope so.
Ready for this?
Go ahead.
If you had to pick two people you think WWE would pick to co-host WrestleMania the two nights, like you know how they always have like a figure that just comes out and cuts some promos, and you might see him like twice during the whole show. Like, who would the two people you would think they would pick off the top of your head? And then we're going to discuss who it's going to be.
Well, obviously, being a Tampa boy, Hulk Hogan was the obvious choice.
And
I said
you
this
got it
in the
right.
house.
He's one. He's one of them announced already.
Right. I told my wife this the day it happened, and she went on Twitter and posted it. But I said it. He's the obvious choice to get to people to watch because it's Tampa. They want fans to come. Who better than Hulk Hogan that represents Florida to host WrestleMania? Who else?
Yep. Well, he gets a lot of hate these days because of those racist comments. And as far as I know, Vito, he's only been really recorded against his knowledge, I think once with racist comments. I don't know if there's a history of racist comments from him. To me, I know it's a touchy subject, but I guess you say something once and you're going to get condemned. But the other co-host is going to be Titus O'Neil. So this very interesting combination that they're doing, and I hope it works out well for everybody. But what's your thoughts in general on what WWE is doing right here?
We just had a blurb in the thing. Get the whip from NoGQ.com. Get the whip. Oh, boy.
Yeah. Well, we know who has the whip.
We know who has the whip. All right. So when it comes to Titus O'Neil, right, that guy is Tampa personified, does a lot of great charity work, does a lot of great things off camera. He definitely gets the Sportsman of the Year award, and he too, another Tampa boy to get everybody in. And don't you notice where they're going with this people? Black and white.
Yeah.
They have to coexist. It's a get-together. I think it's a great mix. I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good for Florida, for wrestling, for Tampa, and it should show. If this is a way for Hulk Hogan to get back on TV on the regular, I hope it does. I'd like to see him every week, Yeah. Just because you said something stupid one time or you said something because you wanted to defend your daughter, I'm sure for the 500,000 people who listen to this show, if you have a child or you're somebody out there, you said something along those lines, all right? And this was not for nobody's ears, but this just the way the world is. And it wasn't meant in a hatred thing. This is just the verbiage that you're accustomed to saying. I've been around Hulk Hogan many times. If you're asking me if I ever seen him be racist or anything like that, you're out of your mind. He went out of his way with all the young guys. He was always cool. Like he owned a business at Hogan's. You know what I mean? Hogan's restaurant. How could you be racist and have a restaurant when you partake in to every culture that comes in because you're Hulk Hogan? I don't see it. It was a mistake. Everybody should put it behind them and forget about it already.
I mean, he worked with Tiny Lister Zeus, in a movie at SummerSlam. He worked with The Rock, who's half African-American. I would think if he truly was this bigot, this huge racist, he would have got out of doing some of that stuff, and we would have more evidence of him being racist. But
exactly.
Again, I'm just saying,
but do you guys?
I'm a white guy. It's a different perspective. But
no, I'm going to say this, right? In defense of Hulk Hogan, right? If you were that way, okay, you come from Florida. That's not Southern. That's not Tennessee. It's not Georgia. It's not Arkansas. It's not Mississippi. It's not any of those things from the 50s where it's like racism was king or it was something big, right? But the greatest WrestleMania that we've ever seen is The Rock, Hulk Hogan, the passing of the torch. And
that was a huge one. I mean, it's hard to argue that. I mean,
when you listen to the crowd, the people were for Hogan. And the people wanted Hogan to win.
yeah,
So
very
guys,
memorable, very memorable.
I think that was the best WrestleMania you'll ever see. You'll never see it in our generation. That will be no other WrestleMania like that. I mean, unless, and I can't even say unless you put Sting and Undertaker at AEW in a match to get with a full arena and a chance to sell out a crowd. I don't think you'll be able to top that
That's a
in
good
this
point.
generation.
That WrestleMania, like I said before, it had a pretty good main event with Triple H and Jericho for the title, for the undisputed title, and that match, the Rock and Hogan match, was so good that Triple H and Jericho was an afterthought. And how often is that going to happen?
Yeah, but guys, when you talk about the WrestleManias and greatest matches, if I'm doing cardio, I'll watch Hogan Rock. I love that match. That is the best match. I love it for the fan interaction, the way Hogan carried himself, the Rock carried himself, because it was a true passing of the torch. And it was something that had to be done. But then everybody forgets after Hogan came back and he got out of the NWO, he did some great stuff. So, I mean, you can't bury it. And you can't bury Hulk Hogan. I wish everybody would just let it go and just let it be. And just let's move on and think of great things. That's my philosophy in life. Stop dwelling on the negative. Always think of the positive. You know what I mean? Things happen. If anybody thinks Virtue, as good as he is, doesn't make mistakes, you're wrong, right? Now, Virtue's had a tough year. I'm going to say tough year. Not everybody knows. I'm not going to spill the beans. He's had a tough year. Now, I'm his personal friend, and I've been rocking and rolling with him through the whole thing. I talk to him every day. I'm sure there's frustration. I'm sure he says things. I'm sure he shakes his head. And I'm sure. Just like in Vito LaGrasso's world, everybody sees me put Facebook posts galore that I'm so positive. Nobody knows what goes on in my house. There could be things going on, but I don't share it. You know what I mean? I just like the positive. So for the one bad moment Hulk Hogan had, let it go, people. Just let it go.
Well said, Vito. Breaking news from WWE FastLane. Braveheart, Mel Gibson, has debuted in the WWE. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry. Drew McIntyre. And I was waiting for them to do this. It's like Vince McMahon must have recently just watched Braveheart. Drew McIntyre comes out in the Braveheart white and blue paint. What do you think about that? I literally, to me, it's like a parody. It's a parody of Braveheart. Why? Why is he doing this? Is this culture? Did Vince McMahon put him up to it? Breaking news, watching it live.
They ruined Drew McIntyre when they turned him babyface. End of story. They ruined him. He should have stayed heel. Why is he coming out in this heel-looking gimmick? I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah.
And I noticed Drew McIntyre is looking smaller. Does anybody notice that? He's looking a lot flatter.
I will take your word for that because you would know better than, I would agree with you.
Yeah, he is kind of looking small. That championship belt took 20 pounds off him plus. And some water retention. I love it.
Versus Sheamus. And by the way, him and Lashley, there you go. That could be your next Rock and Hogan at WrestleMania.
Absolutely. Two people who don't have the it factor. No way. Not even close.
Well, we'll move on to the next topic, but I had to throw that in there when I saw that face paint on Drew. Ready for this. So Shane McMahon was supposed to wrestle Braun Strowman tonight. They pulled it back because, they're faking a knee injury to Shane. This sounds like another one of those contracted matches. Shane must have signed a deal when he came back several years ago with Dad to work so many WrestleManias. He's going to work another WrestleMania. He's most likely going to face Strowman. I just want to know your thoughts with Shane. Obviously, Vince is too old to do this stuff, but is Vince living vicariously through Shane by having Shane still compete? And what's your thoughts on this potential match versus Strowman? They're trying to make Strowman out to look stupid, big and dumb and klutzy. Hopefully the end game is for Strowman to squash Shane on the big stage. But I know you've had some things to say about Strowman in the past too. What's your take on this?
All right, guys. Some Punk 82, some people don't care. You mess up once and that's what happens. People remember. They don't want to forgive and forget. You're absolutely right, my man. Guys, another man who got destroyed by the WWE, Braun Strowman. Man amongst men. I'm going to throw these hands. They had him do so many stupid gimmick things.
He dressed as an elf.
Guys, they ruined this big man. This guy should have been a monster. This guy turned over a Mack truck. How does he lose? Where's the power? Did he lose his power too? When he was with the Wyatts, he should have kept him with the Wyatts. When he was on that run, right? He wasn't ready the night that he was stiffing Brock Lesnar, right? When he blew up in the ring. And they should have kept his matches short. They should have kept it sweet. They should have kept him a powerhouse. He had potential Goldberg run on him. They ruined him. Shane McMahon. They need a draw for WrestleMania, guys. Everybody likes Shane O'Mac, even if he comes back, once a year. Is he going to go back on TV and be the general manager? Is he going to get some kind of power play? I don't know. Could be. Braun Strowman, they're just short on talent, short on names. They need something. Anytime a McMahon's in a WrestleMania, it generates buy rates. That's the reason why we have him in there.
Yeah. And it's, and it doesn't bother me because obviously there's a lot of WrestleMania is going to be 2 nights, Vito. They're going to have probably 14 matches between the 2 nights. So he's not taking anyone's spot. And if you put Strowman over, granted, Strowman's probably damaged goods, who, by the way, he did beat Goldberg at WrestleMania last year in the Performance Center for whatever that was worth. But we'll see what happens with Braun versus Shane O'Mac here in the next month or so. Okay, Vito. Main event. We had the highest, and again, I'm only bringing this up to bring a point. Dave Meltzer's star rating system, right? It's his fans' opinion. He's a fan. It's from a fan's perspective on how good he thinks a wrestling match is. Well, let's just look at his scale. The highest rated women's match he has ever given was Charlotte versus Becky from Evolution, 4.75. Pretty damn good match between the two, right? I won't argue with that, but I don't know how. I'm not a wrestler. I don't know how you rate matches. Bret Hart could rate a match, and I would believe it. Well, Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa had a match on Dynamite this past week, and it was raved about all over the internet. And after the fact, they were showing candid shots backstage. Girls were hugging. Fourth wall was being broke. And they got color. Britt Baker was bleeding. They had thumbtacks sticking in her back. Clearly, AEW is supposed to be sports-based. I'm seeing a lot of hardcore shenanigans there. Dave Meltzer, right on cue. I thought for sure he was going to give it a 5.0 so he could say an AEW women's match is the highest of all time. Well, he pulled back a little bit. He gave it a 4.75 to tie it with, in his opinion, the Charlotte and Becky match. What's your thoughts? I don't know if you caught the match. Hopefully you caught some highlights. Should these two girls be doing stuff like this just to try to get over on AEW? Thumbtacks, blading in the match, other than the blood and the hardcore stuff, I don't know if it was all-time great, Vito. What's going on here with AEW? What's this overhype? I'm not seeing it. No offense to the two girls. Probably the best matches in their life.
I give the girls A for effort. This rating system of 4 point this and 4 point that and 5, I don't believe it. If it's a good match, it's a good match. It's a shitty match, it's a shitty match.
Yep.
Okay? Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa. You ladies are better than this. I've done hardcore for many years. There has never been a time I did barbed wire. There's never been a time I did thumbtacks. I didn't need to. I was over. I was rated probably, one of the best hardcore champs of all time in WCW.
Were you doing color much in that scenario? I don't think you were you? Didn't have to.
Didn't have to, guys. Right? When you talk about the effort that was put forth, A for effort, did you girls need that? Absolutely not. You girls are still ladies. You're still women. I might be looking at it in a different light, but you know, you don't. If you are a good wrestler, you don't need to do hardcore. When I was in WWE and they were trying to find something for me, I had a conversation with Vince McMahon. I said, Vince, can we talk for this? He said, Vito, what's up? What do you got on your mind? I said, Vince, I know you're looking for something for me to do and to get me going. I said, you remember I used to do hardcore? He says, I know you did hardcore. He says, I'm well aware of it. I says, what do you think about me going back and doing it? He says, Vito, you are too good of a wrestler to do hardcore. Remember, hardcore is for guys who can't wrestle. This comes from the man. This is not bullshit. This is true. If you ask any wrestling people, if you could wrestle, you don't need hardcore, right? I was blessed enough to be able to do both because I can wrestle and I could do hardcore, right? These girls are coming in an age where hardcore is passe, and with all the stuff that's going on today, like Moxley and Omega doing exploding ring and all this stuff, not to say be chauvinistic, but ladies should not be doing this kind of match. Again, I'm going to repeat it in the nice. Ladies should not be doing this kind of match. You girls are too talented to do this. That's my take on the hardcore for women. You don't, if you could wrestle, which you can. Miss Baker is a legit dentist, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Educated. I believe the other girl is educated also, from what I understand. To see those girls put themselves through that, I'm like, all right, I understand why. I understand you're there. But girls, I hope going forward, you don't put yourselves in a predicament where something can go wrong and you get hurt. But congratulations on your match. Good effort. But girls, you don't need it. You're better than that.
Some Punk was asking in the chat what Noelle thought of that, if she saw any highlights from it. From a woman's perspective.
I don't think she came from the CZW. She's those deathmatch stuff.
Yeah.
And watching the guys do it was bad, but I don't think too many girls did that kind of stuff. And the one or two times she was involved with something, she got some of the light bulb stuff on her. Guys, have you ever got hit with a light bulb or those, those big ones?
Yeah.
The fluorescent in there, if that gets in your skin and you trying to wipe it out, guys, you cut your body to shreds. Now, me being me, I'm a pretty boy, right? God forbid something happens where I cut myself or my face, or I have, not to say that I'm not tough enough to take thumbtacks. I just wasn't put in a position that nobody asked me to do it, but I did everything else.
Yeah.
And damaging your body for the good of wrestling, your body's only got so many miles. And if you play hard like that, that's gonna cut your career short. I got two things to add to this.
Yep, and that's what time it is. It's what's on Big Vito's mind, so go for it.
First, is Christian signed to AEW? I read somewhere that he's going in the Hall of Fame for the WWE, and he was the last-minute fill-in on AEW, and contract talks fell through. Is that true or false?
As far as I know, that is false, that he is signed with AEW officially, and he's going to be working a program versus Kenny Omega. Unless there's something I do not know about, but I doubt he would have been on AEW TV multiple times already. So I'm going to say that he is signed, and whatever you heard might be bogus. But just from what I know sitting here with you right now.
because I seen Bischoff be on AEW.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now he swung back to the WWE. I heard the same thing about Christian. That's why I didn't know. So I'm just asking a question.
Nope, Christian is signed. Yeah, he's signed as, unless there's just something like bizarre that we don't know about. But yeah, he's signed as far as I know.
Now, here is my last thing, and I want everybody to listen, and I want everybody here in No DQ on the Big Vito brand, the Russo brand. You heard it here first on Getting Color. And this is something I have to bitch about, okay? Everybody talks about working a part-time schedule, right? Everybody says they're a wrestler. How much more of a part-time schedule can you work if you're working once a week? Doesn't that make everybody in the wrestling industry a part-time worker?
That's a great point, Vito. That's a great point.
So all these people bitching about Daniel Bryan working a part-time schedule, and this one working a part-time schedule, the other one working a part-time schedule. You're all part-timers because you're wrestling once a week.
I mean, back in the day, wrestlers would wrestle 300 times a year because they would do the house shows, multiple house shows a day, but yeah,
in the 90s, they were doing 3 shots a day.
Yeah.
3 shows a day. Today, you're wrestling once a week. They consider that a full-time schedule, but then people are bitching and saying, I need to work a part-time schedule. You're only working once a week.
Great point.
So isn't everybody in the wrestling industry a part-time worker?
Yeah. Unless you're the ring crew and all that stuff that's got to travel and all that.
It's my valid point for today. I hope this makes headlines. I hope this makes the news. Now, you really want to grab people's balls. If you're working a part-time schedule, shouldn't you get part-time pay?
Oh, they want, Brock Lesnar's changed all that. I mean, he's the glass ceiling there, man.
But in reality, what we're looking at, and everybody's saying they're a full-time wrestler and they're brothering and they're all out there, you guys are wrestling the same schedule as indie wrestlers once a week. So, is everybody on a part-time, lifetime schedule? Please tell me. That's the question I got. I want some feedback. I want some answers. I want stuff on Twitter. I want stuff in the No DQ. I want you to answer to Virtue, Big Vito, Noel. I want you to even bug Aaron Riff and his girl when she's not cracking the whip. I want answers. You can't handle the truth.
With that said, you heard it from Big Vito first. You can tweet him at the Big Vito brand. You can tweet me at NoDQ_Virtue. Be sure to check out his Patreon, which is patreon.com/the Big Vito brand. Vito, anything in closing before I wrap it up?
Nah, my wife made a point to say I have the best tan I've had in years. Yeah. I am looking really, really slim. Today I really notice how much slimmed down I am because I'm still on this diet. And tattoo work is coming along for new tattoos. Everything is going to be on target. We got good things happening. Got this mic here that's real big because I have a big mouth. Anyway, Virtue, another great job. Thank you very much. And who the hell is Adam Riff?
We'll call him Adam Rift. I don't know who Adam
That's
Rift
right, Adam Rib. You got it. You caught me. Adam Rib.
Adam Rib, I like it even better. All right, for Big Vito, I am Virtue. This has been Getting Color, which can be heard on Anchor, on iTunes, watched on Twitch, and also heard on NoDQ.com when I post it over there. This has been the BigVitoBrand.com exclusive Getting Color. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll see you next time.
And cut. Thank you, everybody, for being in the chat. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a good night, guys.
Here's your exclusive sneak peek at the Big Vito brand on Patreon.
The Big Vito brand presents Men of Business. with your host, Big Vito Lagrasso and Big Ray Hernandez. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Men of Business, MOB. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Big Ray and I'm alive, Vito. I'm alive.
Ray, welcome back to the 813, kid. I'm glad to see you up and around. You see, we had to hold it down here at the 813 while Ray took a little sabbatical. There was a little controversy about pay, about vacation, about pizza. You know, he thought he was with the Russo brand. I said, yo, bro. I said, I got you, dog. I got you.
So right now, I think both squads look really good. And I think both squads are both favorites to take the East in the National and American, right?
Yes. I think the Mets just need to upgrade third base. I could see Villar, who they signed as a utility player, but they're paying more than J.D. Davis taking over at third base. That guy's been hitting a ton. I could see Herman learning a lesson and going back to that sensational year he had of being 18-4.
This guy is unhealthy every year, and he's always building his way back up to becoming who he may be or should be. But that's every year, so he never gets there. You know what I mean?
You know when he was his best?
Talk to me.
When he had his part, when he was teamed with Carmelo. Carmelo inspired him. You don't hear about him blocking shots in Dallas. When he was with the Knicks, he was blocking shots. He was a rim protector. So you have Carmelo balking him, and the guy looked up to Carmelo. And when you talk about what he was doing, I don't think he's playing at that Carmelo level.
No.
Not that he's not playing good.
Right.
He's not playing the all-around game. His offense was always there.
So with that being said, Vito, I'm going to let you go on this. Vito, I'm going to ask you to shoot on the fact that the Fed from New York has hired back John Laurinaitis. It's all yours.